Hey guys, welcome back here to Advanced Bass Fishing, and appreciate you guys coming by the channel to check the video out today. Always happy to have you guys around here. Guys, today I want to give some tips and advice on fishing one of the most productive structures on any lake that has them in there in the summertime of the year. Usually July and August is the best time, and that's fishing bridge piers. Bridge piers, guys, are absolutely excellent almost in any lake that you go to that has bridge piers. And it doesn't really matter the water visibility. You can have some off-colored water, you can have in between, or you could have clear water. So I just sort of want to have a little conversation with you guys. I'm down here in the basement working on the computer today. I just wanted to give you guys sort of my opinion on how to fish these things, what you want to look for, and how I go about fishing them during the summertime of the year. Also, guys, for getting started, thank you, man, very much. Everybody that has subscribed here to Advanced Bass Fishing, thank you very much for that. Really appreciate it. And guys, a big thank you. I know you guys hear me talking about this, but thank you very much for everybody that's been using and bookmarking like my Tackle Warehouse link in this video description. If you guys are using that link and bookmarking it to purchase your tackle and get gear from my link there, big thank you for me and my family. The channel gets a small percentage of a commission. If you guys buy a fishing reel or spool of line or something, get a small percentage of that commission on there. Not a lot, but it adds up after a while. And thank you very much if you've been doing that. We really appreciate it. Okay, bridge piers, guys. The time that I fish bridge piers is in the middle of the summer. This is the best time of year to fish it. A lot of different reasons. Number one, guys, it's comfortable, because a lot of times when you're underneath a bridge, you got some shade if it's really hot, so you can't underestimate that little benefit. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about how many bass use bridge piers. Lots of them use bridge piers in the summertime of the year. Fish suspend on them for the most part. Now, I want to go over sort of like some different scenarios that you may encounter, because every bridge pier is going to be different. If you're on like a TVA lake, like Lake Wheeler or Lake Gunnersville or something like that, and you have bridge piers, a lot of times you're dealing with current. But if you're fishing like my part of the country, like Table Rock Lake or Grand Lake or something like that around here, you may have some current moving through the system, but you don't have the type of current that you do on a river system. So the first thing to remember is that if you are fishing bridge piers where there's a noticeable current, the fish are usually always going to be in the down current side, anywhere there's a current break. So they're going to be positioned in that current break area. But if you fish just a man-made reservoir where you don't have a lot of significant current, they can be anywhere. They can be on any side. They can be all around the bridge pier, and they can also be between the bridge piers, which they get a lot of times. So based upon your current, that is going to give you a good indication of exactly where you want to fish. So here is sort of my tips and advice that I'm going to give you guys for fishing bridge piers, and it has to do with your water visibility. If your water visibility is like under 3 feet, most of the time the best piers are going to be the ones that are closest to the bank, and the fish are going to be suspended shallow around those bridge piers. So if I have less than 3 foot of visibility, I'm concentrating on like the first 2 bridge piers on a bridge, and that's it. And I'm usually throwing a jerkbait. Jerkbait in that little bit more off-colored water is going to be absolutely the best way to catch them. By far, if there's one there, they're going to bite a jerkbait. I try to keep it less than 5 foot deep around there. You're not going to have a lot of fish suspended deep in that little bit more off-colored water. Sometimes I'll throw like a little swim bait or something like that, but my main target, if that water visibility is under 3 feet, is a jerkbait for sure. Megabass Vision 110, Megabass X80, something like that. Now, my favorite bridge pier scenario, though, in the summertime of the year is a little bit cleaner water, where you have water visibility of over 3 feet, and especially if you have a lake that has a mixed species. So if you have a lake that has bridge piers that are water visibilities over 3 feet, and you have a mix of like largemouth and spotted bass and maybe some smallmouth, specifically spotted bass. Spotted bass love bridge piers. This is when you've got a lot of things going on, and you can catch a lot of fish on bridge piers. Here's the way that I fish them. The first thing that I do is, if I have that water visibility over 3 feet, I'm going to cast all around the pier, right to the pier, with either a drop shot or some type of a small swim bait, like that little Megabass Hazendong shad, or maybe some type of a wacky rig, flick shake rig. But my number one is a drop shot. So I'll take that drop shot, like on usually a little bit lighter sinker, like a 3/16 ounce sinker, a little 3 or 4 inch straight-tailed worm. I'll throw it up to the fish all around the pier, throw it right next to the concrete, and I'll let it free fall. I'll throw it up there and I'll shake it down and let it free fall anywhere between 5 to 20 foot deep. I'll just count it down, and I can usually pick up some fish doing that. Now, once I cast all the way around the pier, like on the sides and the ends, then I get up right next to the pier with the drop shot and I drop it vertical. I get right up next to the concrete and I drop it straight down the concrete wall, and I'll work 10, 20, 30 foot deep and shake it vertical for those fish that are along there. Now, you'll notice there's sometimes there's some shad and minnows feeding on the algae of the piers, but that is my first approach. Now, after I do that, this is one thing, and this is the thing I want to talk about in the video more than anything else. If you're going between bridge piers, let's say, for example, you've got 50 or 100 yards between your bridge piers, stay in the shade as you're trolling to the next bridge pier, and keep an eye on your electronics, your 2D sonar, because if you've got spotted bass in that lake or largemouth spotted bass mix, those fish will suspend in big schools in the shade underneath that bridge, not around the concrete at all. This is something that gets overlooked a lot. So what I'll do is I'll sort of troll through there, and I look for, they're easy to see, guys. You can see them in big schools. Sometimes there's hundreds of fish in them. And if I see a school of fish that's in between those bridge piers, I simply drop that drop shot vertical right underneath the boat. And I have caught tons of bass doing that, tons of bass. Now, another thing, it's like if you're just out taking the kids fishing or something, get you some night crawlers. If you see those fish suspended out there between those bridges, they'll eat a night crawler every drop. So it's a really good way to get kids catching fish if you do see that. But these bridge pier fish, they live around there. They live in and around these piers all the time, and they just move back and forth between them. They'll move, some of them will set up on the pier, some of them go in between the piers, but they stay in the shade. The shade is critical. The shade is even more critical than the current a lot of times in the summertime. So don't get locked in when you're fishing a bridge pier. Just fish in the pier itself. Expand out away from there, especially if that water's clear. And it's going to hold fish all summer. I catch fish from about June through September doing this, and lots of them. I mean, I've had lots of 40 and 50 fish days fishing around bridges in that time of year. And like I said, there's two basic baits that you need aside from the jerk bait on the off-color water, a little bitty 2.5 inch swim bait, and a drop shot. And usually you're going to catch everything there with those. So anyway, I hope it helps out, guys. We'll talk later.